We continue from the previous episode as the two guards outside the courtyard were stunned by the violent eruption inside. One of them shouted, "Young master," then immediately ordered, "Stop them." Lady Shi and the little war immortal managed to escape the blast range just in time, landing on a nearby rooftop. Lady Shi quickly assessed the situation and realized an assassin at the sacred supreme realm. She then turned to the little war immortal, puzzled, and asked, "Just who did you offend?" The little war immortal, equally shocked, stared at the attacker and asked, "Who are you?" With rage building, he added, "You actually dare to come into my courtyard to assassinate me?" The female assassin, her face veiled, rushed forward, instantly appearing in front of him. She said coldly, "The one who's here to take your life." With a powerful kick, she struck him in the gut, sending him flying. The little war immortal flew hundreds of meters as the assassin chased after him midair. Still airborne, he coughed up a mouthful of blood and wondered, "Where's my guardian? Why haven't they shown up yet?" Meanwhile, we see the little war immortal's guardian, beaten and bruised, holding his severed hand. He asked, "Two Supremes, who exactly do you work for?" Gu, standing across from him, replied, "You've crossed someone you can't afford to offend." Lady Bai, appearing only in her incarnation form, said coldly, "Enough talk. Make your move quickly." She warned, "If you mess this up, he won't spare you." Gu cracked his knuckles and said, "All right, Lord Bai." The scene then shifts back to Gu Changge, who was sent flying backward. He shouted toward Niu Tian. Niu Tian appeared between the assassin and Gu Changge and said firmly, "Ching, you go ahead. I'll cover your retreat." But Gu Changge stubbornly refused, saying, "If I leave, we leave together." Sitting on the ground with sweat dripping down his face, he cursed inwardly. Damn it. Gu Changge released a small amount of demonic energy as he wondered, should I use demonic arts? He then recalled what his master had once warned him. Cultivating demonic arts, once exposed, anyone would have a reason to kill you. Be careful using it before you become strong enough. Gu Changge pondered, calculating the risk. Niu Tian won't betray me, but I can't be sure about the others. He looked up and saw everyone fighting desperately for their lives. Lady Shi suddenly summoned a massive green cauldron and took flight. A thunderous boom then erupted in the center of the estate as two powerful auras collided. It was the little war immortal and the female assassin. The little war immortal demanded, "Did Gu Changge send you?" The female assassin calmly replied, "The little war immortal's technique is truly extraordinary." She then added coldly, "But unfortunately, today, you still have to die." Blood dripping from his nose and mouth, the little war immortal looked her in the eyes and said, "I admit I'm no match for you in a one-on-one fight, but..." He fell silent and released an overwhelming aura that surged upward toward the isolation barrier. The veiled assassin's eyes widened in shock as she realized his intent. He's trying to break the barrier. She rushed at him with the intent to kill, shouting, "Die!" But just before she could reach him, a massive cauldron slammed into her side. She raised her arm to block the impact, halting her charge midair. Lady Shi, now sitting atop the massive cauldron, looked down and asked coldly, "Trying to kill us?" She added, "Not that easy." The little war immortal, still channeling a huge surge of energy upward, smirked inwardly. "It seems my fiancé isn't so bad after all." His energy finally pierced through, shattering the isolation barrier. The female assassin's eyes widened as sweat dripped down her face. She realized in horror, not good. She immediately turned her back and yelled, "Everyone retreat." But before she could move an inch, the clan ancestor appeared in front of her and said, "How dare you attempt an assassination in Kunwa City?" He placed his hand on her and growled, seeking death. The female assassin, her veins now glowing, prepared to self-destruct. She shouted, "The mission failed. Everyone get ready." But before she could finish, the clan ancestor humphed and twisted the space around her. Her body shrieked and contorted violently, compressing into a tiny ball in his palm. He clenched his fist, crushing her on the spot. Lady Shi clapped her hands together, bowed slightly, and said, "Great uncle." The little war immortal also bowed and said, "Thank you, elder." Lady Shi looked ahead and saw the other assassins begin to self-destruct. She said grimly, "It seems we're dealing with a well-trained assassin organization. or elite killers. A nearby guard was caught in the blast and screamed, "Ah, they've self-destructed." "Lady," she asked, "do you have any clues about where these people came from?" The little war immortal lowered his gaze and pondered. He and the successor of the demonic arts are indeed in cahoots. He concluded coldly, "Gu Changge trying to kill me? Not that easy." The scene then shifts. Envied knelt down, head bowed, and said, "I failed in my duties. Young master, please punish me." Gu Changge, now walking down the stairs, asked calmly, "What are you doing?" Envied, still with her head lowered, said, "The assassination mission has failed. If I had planned more thoroughly, this wouldn't have happened. I should have." Gu Changge, now closer, gently held her hand and said, "A failure is just a failure. No big deal." He added, "I cannot fault you for this unexpected turn of events." Envied, now trying to stand up, said, "Well then, I shall continue sending more people." She added confidently, "Young master, I refuse to believe we can't get rid of the little war immortal." Gu Changge reassured her, "There is no need at this moment. The little war immortal will undoubtedly be on high alert following this incident." He continued, "Now that I'm riding high, I need to be more mindful of my reputation when handling things." Envied lowered her gaze and said, "Then it was still Envied who delayed young master's plans." Gu Changge gently held her upright and said, "It's fine. Might as well let him live a few more days. I wonder if he'll venture into Kuan Mountain." He added coldly, "Should he do so, I shall make sure to personally take care of him." Envied smiled brightly and said, "True enough. Once he leaves Kunwu City, that little war immortal is nothing more than a fish on the chopping block." Gu Changge leaned closer to her and said, "You've reminded me of something important. This incident has presented me with an ideal opportunity." He then gave his instructions. "Envied, go issue an order. Announce my intention to host a banquet at the Star-Plucking Pavilion later today. Invite the many young prodigies in Kunwu City to discuss the invasion into Kuan Mountain for the rescue of Gu Changge." He paused, then corrected himself. "No, the rescue of a human ancestor." Envied was still smiling and blushing slightly as she replied, "Understood, young master." Their faces drew even closer, about to kiss. But a voice rang out from behind, cutting into the moment. "Chingxian has something to report to you privately, young master." Chingga stepped forward. Gu Changge turned and said calmly, "Then Envied should take her leave to handle her duties." Envied nodded, "Yes." As she passed by Chingxian, she shot her a cold, angry glare. Gu Changge walked toward Chingga and asked, "What is it? Speak up." Chingga said plainly, "I heard about young master sending assassins after the little war immortal." Gu Changge, indifferent, asked, "You want to know why I want him dead?" Chingga nodded and said, "Of course." Gu Changge smiled slightly and replied, "It's because he knows something he shouldn't know." Chingga asked, puzzled, "Something he shouldn't know?" Gu Changge looked at her coldly and asked, "Are you still going to play dumb?" He then said plainly, "Su Chingga." Chinga's eyes widened in shock. Sweat began to drip down her face as she asked, "Young master, you know?" Gu Changge leaned in and said, "Know what? Are you referring to you and your sister swapping identities?" He added sharply, "Or is it the matter of the successor of the demonic arts? How much longer were you planning to keep that from me?" Chingga stood frozen in disbelief. She lowered her gaze and said softly, "I recall you once said that if you ever discovered the true identity of the successor of demonic arts, you would never let them live, so I." Gu Changge slowly reached out and placed his hand on her neck as he said, "So, you still remember what I said?" Chinga's voice grew quiet. "I'm sorry for disappointing you, young master." Gu Changge gripped her neck tightly and asked, "Now that you've confessed, do you want me to kill you?" Chingga, choking, replied, "Young master won't kill me." Gu Changge looked puzzled. "You think I can't bear to kill you?" His grip tightened, veins appearing on Chingga's neck. Chingga still held on. "Should the young master desire to end my life, I will not object. Meeting my demise in your hands may be the most fitting ending for me. I'm tired. I don't want to keep hiding anymore." Suddenly, the blue soul residing within Chingga held her head and yelled, "It's over." Gu Changge then looked at Chingga in silence. He finally said, "Forget it." He pulled Chingga into a close embrace and said, "I'm not such a cold and heartless person. After all, you came with me from the lower realm, and I feel a deep responsibility for your current state." He added, Whether you are the successor of the demonic arts or just an ordinary cultivator makes no difference to me. No matter what, you are still my Chingga." Hearing those words, Chingga began to tear up. She slowly returned to her true appearance. Gu Changge then said softly, "And that will never change. I will protect you." If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the bell icon so you won't miss the next update. See you next time.